You made it here. That matters more than you know right now, more than you can probably feel at this hour, when the tiredness has settled into your bones and the day is still clinging to you like something that doesn't know it's over yet. But you made it. You stopped. And stopping, at this hour, in a world that never quite stops asking things of you, is its own quiet form of courage. So before anything else, before we go anywhere together tonight, just let yourself be here. Take a slow breath in, not a rushed one, not the kind you take between tasks, the shallow kind that barely reaches your chest before you're already moving again. A real breath. Let it come all the way down, past the tension you've been carrying in your shoulders since sometime this morning, past the worry that hasn't resolved itself, past everything the day deposited in you that you haven't had a quiet moment to sort through yet. And let it go. You are lying down now. Let that mean something. There is a psalm, 23 words in its opening line in the original language, though we tend to move through them quickly, the way we move through familiar things. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. We have heard it at funerals. We have heard it in hard seasons. We have read it so many times that it has become, for some of us, almost invisible. A comfort we reach for the way we reach for an old blanket, grateful for it, but no longer really seeing it. Tonight, I want to see it again, with you. Slowly, not as a text to be studied, not as a passage to be explained, but as a room to be entered, a room that has always been larger on the inside than it appears from the doorway, that holds more than we have ever let it hold, because we have never before sat still inside it long enough to feel all of its dimensions. That is what tonight is. A sitting still. An entrance. Let your shoulders drop a little. Let your jaw soften. Let your hands rest open where they are, instead of curled against whatever they've been holding all day. The psalm will wait for you. He will wait for you. There is no hurry here. There is only this breath, and then the next one, and the slow, unhurried voice of something ancient and true, speaking directly into the particular darkness of your particular night. You are not alone in this room. Stay with me. There is more peace ahead. The Lord is my shepherd. Let that phrase land somewhere new tonight. Not the version you've heard at gravesides or in Sunday morning recitation. Not the one that has become so familiar it passes through you without stopping. This one. The real one. The one that was written by a man who had actually been a shepherd. Who knew what the word cost? Who knew what it meant to belong to one? Take a slow breath and let it open. The Lord is my shepherd, not my manager. Not my judgment, reviewing the record of how well you ordered your hours today. Not a distant administrator of a life you are mostly running on your own. A shepherd. And the difference between those things is not small. It is everything. A shepherd knows his sheep by name, not by category, not by the general shape of the flock, by name, by the particular way one of them moves when something is wrong, by the specific fear that makes another one hang back at the edge of the water. He knows which one needs to be led slowly, which one tends to wander, and which one has been limping since yesterday and is trying not to show it. He knows you like that. Not the version of you that had it together today, not the version that performed well, or kept the worry hidden, or managed the hard thing with grace. The actual you. The one lying here now, tired in ways that are hard to name, carrying things that have been carried so long they have started to feel like they belong to you. That is the one he is shepherding over tonight. Breathe slowly. Let your chest be soft. There is something else in that word, something the original language holds that our translations sometimes smooth over. The Hebrew words for shepherd and friend share the same root. To shepherd is, in part, to companion. To stay close, not because it is required, but because the shepherd's life is bound up with the flock's life. What happens to the sheep happens to the shepherd. He does not watch from a distance. He sleeps where they sleep. He walks where they walk. He enters the valley when they enter the valley. He is not watching your night from somewhere else. He is here. In this room, in this quiet. Closer than the worry that came to bed with you. Closer than the thought you can't put down. Closer than the distance you may have felt between you and him for longer than you'd like to admit. The Lord is my shepherd. Say it slowly, somewhere in the quiet of yourself. Not as a performance, as a recognition, as the beginning of letting it be true again in the way it was always true, even on the days you forgot. He makes me lie down, leads me beside still waters. Notice the word makes, not invites, not suggests, not leaves a quiet place available in case you happen to find your way to it. Makes, as in the shepherd does something active here, something intentional, because sheep, left to themselves, do not lie down easily. They are anxious creatures by nature, alert to threat, always scanning, always ready to move before the move is necessary. That might sound familiar. Take a slow breath. Let it be slower than the last one. You have been scanning all day. Some part of you has been on watch since the morning came for you, monitoring the edges of the hours, bracing quietly for whatever might need managing next. And now the day is over, and the lights are low, and the world has gone quiet around you, but the scanning hasn't stopped. The body is still. The mind is still making its rounds. He makes you lie down. Not because you have finally earned the rest, not because the list is finished, or the worry has resolved itself, or the thing you've been bracing for has passed, but because the shepherd knows that the flock cannot be led well by an exhausted sheep. Because rest is not a reward at the end of doing, it is a gift placed in the middle of it. Let your body be heavy now. Let the mattress hold you the way it was made to. And the still waters. This is tender if you will let it be. Sheep will not drink from rushing water. It frightens them. And so the shepherd does not simply lead them to water. He leads them to still water, to the kind of quiet that the soul can actually receive from. He adjusts the offering to the need. He does not hand you more than you can hold tonight. He brings you to the pace your tired heart can actually take something in from. This is that place. Right now. This slow and unhurried hour. You don't have to drink deeply tonight. You don't have to arrive at some profound spiritual moment before sleep comes. Just be here beside the still water. Just let the quiet be what it is. Let it do what only quiet can do. In the slow, patient way that it works, beneath the noise and beneath the worry and beneath the version of tomorrow you are already beginning to build in the back of your mind. He brought you here to this stillness, to this room, to this breath. That was not an accident. He restores my soul. Restores is a slow word. It is not a sudden word. It is not the word you use for something that happens in a moment, in a flash of light, in a single prayer that fixes everything before morning. It is the word you use for something that takes time, for something that was worn down gradually and is being rebuilt the same way. Carefully, patiently, one quiet day at a time. Take a slow breath. Let the exhale be long. Some of you came to bed tonight hollow, not dramatically so, not in a way anyone around you would have named or noticed. Just quietly empty in the way that accumulates slowly, the way a cup loses water not from being poured out all at once, but from a slow leak that goes undetected until one day you reach for it and find almost nothing left. You know that feeling. The one where you move through the motions of the day and do what is required and hold what needs holding, but somewhere underneath all the functioning, something essential is running thin. That is what restore speaks to. Not your productivity, not your performance, your soul. the deep interior part of you that the day never quite reaches, the long seasons of hard living absolutely do. The part that gets worn not by any single thing, but by the accumulation of everything, over the years of managing, by the grief that never fully resolved, by the hope that was deferred long enough that something in you quietly stopped hoping quite so much. He restores that part. Breathe slowly. Let your hands open where they are resting. And here is what I want you to hear in this, gently and without pressure. The restoration has already begun. Not when you get the quiet time right, not when the morning routine is consistent, or the faith feels strong, or the distance between you and God has finally been closed by sufficient effort on your part. It began when you stopped tonight. This is the restoration, this breath, this stillness, this willingness to lie here and receive something instead of producing something. The soul is not restored by more striving. It is restored by surrender, by the slow release of the grip, by letting the shepherd do what only the shepherd can do, in the unhurried way that he works, in the quiet hours when you have finally stopped moving long enough to be tended to. You are being tended to right now. Let that be enough for tonight. Let the restoring be what it is. Slow and real and already underway, in the gentle dark, in the hands of the one who has never once grown tired of the work of bringing you back. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. There is someone ahead of you on the road. That is what this line is really saying, underneath the theological language, underneath the familiarity of the phrasing. There is someone who has already walked the path you are about to walk. Who knows what the terrain looks like before your foot meets it? Who is not guessing at the way forward and hoping for the best? He knows the road. And he is already on it, already ahead, already between you and whatever the morning is going to ask of you. Take a slow breath. Let that settle somewhere in you. Because some of you are lying here tonight with a decision that hasn't been made yet. A direction that isn't clear. A road that has forked somewhere up ahead, and you cannot see far enough down either path to know which one to take. And the not knowing has been sitting in your chest all day like something with weight, like something you are supposed to have figured out by now. He leads, not hands you a map and steps back, not gives you enough information to make a fully informed, independent decision. Leads, present tense. Active, the kind of leading that requires you to be close enough to follow, close enough to see where he is stepping before you step, close enough that the distance between you and him never grows so wide that you lose sight of which way he went. Let your shoulders drop a little, let the jaw soften. And then there is this phrase at the end of the line that we tend to read past. For his name's sake. He leads you not only because you need leading, though you do. He leads you because his name is on it. His faithfulness is the guarantee. He cannot lead you into confusion and remain who he is. He cannot abandon you mid-path and remain who he is. The lead is secured not by the quality of your following, but by the character of the one in front. You do not have to follow perfectly tonight. You do not have to have the direction figured out before sleep comes. You do not have to resolve the unresolved road or force the unclear thing into clarity through more thinking, more planning, more anxious turning of the problem over in the dark. The shepherd knows the way, even here, even now. Rest in that. Let the path be his responsibility tonight, and let your only task be the simple, quiet one of trusting that he has not lost his way, and therefore you have not lost yours. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we need to stay here for a while. Not because it is comfortable, it isn't, but because some of you have been in this valley for long enough that you have stopped expecting anyone to acknowledge it. You have learned to carry it quietly. to answer "I'm fine" with enough steadiness in your voice that people stop asking, to move through the ordinary hours of ordinary days with something enormous and dark living just underneath the surface of all of it. This is for you tonight. Take a slow breath. You don't have to hold anything together right now. The valley of the shadow of death is not only about dying, it is about the seasons that feel like a kind of dying. The grief that arrived and rearranged everything, and left you living in a version of your life that you did not choose and do not fully recognize. The loss that people around you have moved on from, but that you are still inside of, still learning the shape of, still waking up to every morning like something that keeps being new, even though it is not new at all. It is about the fear that visits at this hour. The specific kind that only comes in the dark, when the distractions are gone, and the noise has stopped, and the thing you have been outrunning all day finally catches up and sits at the edge of the bed and waits. Let yourself name it. Quietly, you don't have to say it out loud. The psalmist did not write around the valley. He did not soften it or dress it in more palatable language. He named it exactly as it is. Shadow of death. The darkest possible phrasing. And he placed it not at the end of the psalm, not as the conclusion, but in the middle. Because that is where valleys are, in the middle of a life. In the middle of a journey that is still going somewhere, even when the somewhere is impossible to see from inside the shadow. You are in the middle, not at the end. Breathe slowly. Let the chest rise and fall without forcing it. And notice what the psalmist does not say. He does not say the valley was a mistake. He does not say the shepherd led him around it, above it, or away from it. He says through. The valley is not the destination. It is the terrain. And terrain, however brutal, is something that can be walked through. It may not feel that way tonight. You may be deep enough in it that through feels like a word that belongs to someone else's story. Someone with more faith, more resilience, more of whatever it takes to believe that the shadow has an edge. You don't need more tonight. You only need this. The shepherd went in before you. He is in the valley with you right now, not watching from the ridge, not waiting at the other side for you to emerge. Here, in the dark, in the shadow, in the specific, unnamed and very real thing you are walking through, he has not left you to walk it alone. I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. The turn does not come from the darkness lifting, it comes from a presence being named inside it. That is the movement of this line, and it is important to feel the difference. Because if you are waiting for the fear to leave before you believe the comfort is real, you may wait a long time. The psalmist does not say the evil disappeared. He does not say the valley suddenly lit up, or the shadow pulled back, or the thing he was afraid of turned out to be nothing after all. He says, "You are with me." Take a slow breath. Let it be soft. That is the turn. Not a change in circumstances, a change in the company. And company, real company, the kind where someone who knows exactly what you are facing chooses to stay anyway, changes everything that circumstances alone cannot touch. It changes what the fear does to you, not whether it comes, but whether it has the final word. You are with me. Say that somewhere in the quiet of yourself, not as a formula, not as something you are supposed to feel before you are allowed to mean it, just as a direction. A turning of the heart toward the one who is already here, already close, already in the room where fear came in tonight. Let your body be heavy. Let the mattress hold you, and the rod and the staff. We tend to read comfort into these words and move on, but there is something worth staying with. The rod was a weapon. The shepherd carried it to defend the flock against what came for them in the dark. predators that the sheep never saw coming, threats that arrived without warning at the edges of the night. The comfort is not only softness, it is protection. There is something actively standing between you and the thing you are afraid of tonight. Not passively, not symbolically. The shepherd is not simply nearby, offering his presence as a kind of moral support. He is positioned, he is watchful. He is between you and whatever has been stalking the edges of your peace. Breathe slowly. Let that be real for a moment. You do not have to be the thing standing between yourself and the dark tonight. That is not your post. That post is taken. And the one holding it has never once fallen asleep on watch, has never once been caught off guard, has never once let something through that he did not already have a plan for. Father, we come to you from inside the valley. Some of us have been here longer than we know how to say. We are tired of being afraid, tired of bracing, tired of meeting the dark without enough left to meet it with. So we received this tonight, simply and honestly. You are with us, not at a distance. Here, in this room, in this breath, between us and the thing we cannot face alone. We release the watch to you. We lay down the weight of our own vigilance. And we trust that what you are holding tonight will still be held when the morning comes. In Jesus' name, Amen. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. The table is not set after the battle, it is set in the middle of it. That is the detail that stops you, if you let it. Not once have the enemies retreated. Not when the threat has passed, and the ground is finally safe and the hard season has resolved itself into something more manageable. The table is prepared while the enemies are still there, while the pressure is still real, while the thing that has been opposing you is still visible on the horizon, still present, still undefeated. Take a slow breath. Let that land gently, because some of you are waiting for the difficulty to end before you expect God to provide. Somewhere in the logic of how you have been living, provision belongs on the other side of the hard thing. You will rest when the debt is cleared. You will have peace when the relationship is repaired. You will receive when the situation has shifted enough to make receiving feel less irresponsible, less naive, less like wishful thinking dressed up as faith. But this is not how the shepherd works. The table comes now, in the presence of what is still opposing you. In the middle of the financial weight that followed you to bed tonight, that has been a low and constant presence behind every thought for longer than you want to admit. In the middle of the health fear, the uncertainty, the relationship that is still unresolved, the job that is still unstable, the future that is still unclear, he does not wait for your circumstances to cooperate before he provides for you. Breathe slowly. Let the hands open where they are resting. And there is a dignity in this image that I don't want you to miss. A table is not emergency rations. It is not survival. It is not the bare minimum handed over reluctantly to someone barely making it through. A table is a prepared thing, a deliberate thing. It speaks of care and intention and the unhurried attention of someone who thought about what you needed before you arrived and made sure it was ready. He thought about what you needed before today began. He was not surprised by the weight you carried into this night. He was not caught off guard by the particular shape of your lack, your fear, your need. He had already prepared for it, already set something in place that your anxiety, in all its certainty that nothing would be enough, has not yet seen. You are seated at a table tonight, not scrambling, not surviving on whatever can be scraped together. Seated, provided for, cared for with intention by the one who has never once failed to set the table, even when everything around it was still in opposition. Let that be what you carry into sleep. Not the enemies, the table. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Surely is a bold word. It is not a hopeful word. It is not a probability. or a most likely, or if things go reasonably well. Surely it is the language of someone who has walked far enough with the shepherd to have moved past hoping and arrived somewhere closer to knowing. It is a word with weight behind it, with history behind it, with enough evidence accumulated over enough hard seasons that the uncertainty has been pressed out of it, the way water is pressed from something that has been wrung long enough. Take a slow breath. But I want to stay with the word that follows, surely, because it is the word that changes everything about how you read your past tonight. Follow. Goodness and mercy shall follow you, not lead you into pleasant circumstances, not arrive when you have finally earned them, finally ordered your life correctly, finally become the version of yourself that seems deserving of good things. Follow as in, they have been behind you this whole time, as in, they were present in the years you remember as only hard, as in, even in the seasons where all you could see was what was going wrong, something else was also there, trailing you through it, closer than you knew. Let your shoulders drop. Let the jaw soften. This is an invitation to look back differently tonight, not to minimize what the hard years cost. They cost something real, and the weight of them was real, and you are not being asked to pretend otherwise, but to look again at those years and ask whether goodness and mercy might have been present in ways you were too deep inside the difficulty to see at the time. The phone call that came when it did. The person who showed up without being asked. The moment when something shifted just enough to keep you moving forward, when stopping felt more honest. The provision that arrived in a form you didn't recognize as a provision until much later, when you had enough distance to see it clearly. All the days of my life, not only the good days, not the days that felt like evidence of God's nearness, all of them, the days you would rather not revisit, the days that still carry a low ache when something brings them back to mind, the days you spent at the far edge of your faith, running low on everything, unsure whether you were still believed in by the one you were struggling to believe in, those days too. Goodness and mercy. They are following you into tomorrow as well, into the day that hasn't happened yet, that you have perhaps already begun to brace against in the quiet corners of your mind. They will be there before you are. They have never once failed to show up, and surely it is still the word. Even now, even here, even tonight. I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Forever is the word that reframes everything that came before it. Not because it makes the valley smaller, not because it minimizes what the hard seasons cost or rushes the grief toward a resolution it hasn't reached yet, but because it places everything inside a larger container. One that does not end with the difficulty, one that does not end at all. Let your body be heavy now. Let the room hold you. And here is what forever does for tonight, for this specific dark and this specific weight and this specific version of hard that you carried to bed with you. It means the night is not the final word. Whatever is unresolved right now, whatever is still broken, still aching, still waiting for something that hasn't come yet, none of it is the final word. The final word is the house of the Lord. The final word is dwelling. The final word is forever. Some of you need to hear that not as theology but as permission. Permission to let tonight be unfinished. Permission to close your eyes on a life that is still in the middle of its story, still carrying things that haven't been resolved, still waiting for chapters that haven't been written yet, and to rest anyway. To rest well. To rest like someone whose ending is secure, even when the middle is still hard. The shepherd who led you through the valley is the same one who prepared the table in the middle of the battle, and whose goodness has been following you through every season you have lived. He is not going to lose you before forever begins. He has never lost what belongs to him. And you belong to him. That is not a small thing to carry into sleep. That is everything. You have walked the whole psalm tonight, not around it, through it. through the still waters and the restored places and the dark valley and the table set in the middle of the battle and the goodness that has been following you longer than you knew. You walked through all of it, and you are still here, still breathing, still held by the same hands that have been holding you through every season that tried to convince you otherwise. Take one last slow breath, all the way in, and all the way out. There is nothing left to figure out tonight, nothing left to resolve before sleep comes. The psalm has said what it came to say, and it has said it directly into the specific and unnamed and very real weight of your particular night. And now the only thing left is to release. To let the hands open, to let the shepherd take the watch while you rest. Let your body be completely heavy now. Let every muscle that has been quietly bracing since this morning finally, fully let go. The shepherd knows the way. Even here, even now. He knew it before the day began, and he will know it when the morning comes, and you have not been out of his sight for a single moment of the hours in between. Not in the valley, not at the table, not in the dark that felt too dark for anyone to find you in. He was there. He is here. He will be there when the light comes back. Let that be the last true thing you hold before sleep takes you. Father, we come to the end of this night, and we place everything in your hands. The grief that came to bed with us, the fear that sat at the edges of the dark, the need that has been present so long has started to feel permanent, the unresolved thing, the unclear road, the question that still has no answer. We place it all down now, not because we have figured it out, because you have, because you are the shepherd, and the shepherd knows what the sheep cannot see from inside the valley, and we are choosing tonight to trust that.